Hello, YouTube! Today I will be talking about and reviewing Ultimate Avengers, the movie, the first animated movie from Marvel. Now, this movie is based on the best-selling comics, The Ultimates, which goes back to, I want to say, 2000 and six, maybe like mid 2000s at the somewhere around there. um and the Ultimates is a it's a basically it is a more kind of like modern, more adult take on the Avengers. And um a lot of, as you can see, everybody here, got a different, has a much different look. Like Nick Fury is, as you can see, like Nick Fury is black and bald. Um, um, he, Iron Man has, a much different look. Captain America doesn't have the wings on the side of his head like like he normally did in the old school stuff. Um, Thor has, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, is much different. Um, so all the characters were basically, redesigned, reimagined. Um, Everybody got, sort of like a new, sort of got, like a new look. But this movie opens with Captain America in World War II. World War II is going on. He's getting ready to go off and fight, the Nazis. The Chitauri are the main villain for this movie. And if you've seen the first Avengers movie in the MCU, you know who the Chitauri are. In the Ultimates, however, they look much different than they do in the MCU, but it is a different, but it is the same, but it's the same villain from the first Avengers movie. In the Ultimates, they just look different. So World War II is going on. They're, how Captain America is there, was our, super weapon in that, in that movie. The Chitauri have one of their own called Kleiser, and he is the super weapon for the Chitauri. So, and he is, so Cap and his men are, so Cap is leading, his buddies into, into battle. Cap goes after, Cap goes after Kleiser. First few minutes into the movie, we learn that Hitler is dead. So Hitler is no longer a problem. And at the movie opens. I shouldn't say the movie opens, but the movie kind of, the movie's like opening ending. I guess I could call it, is Captain America supposedly sacrificing himself to destroy Kleiser. He is on the rocket Kleiser is on. He's trying to stop him. He puts Cap puts explosives on the rocket and then jumps off. And then jumps off, and then the rocket explodes. And then the rocket explodes. And then the rocket explodes. Cap jumps off and lands in the water, and he lands in the water, and much like the Captain, and much like the first Captain America movie, much like Avengers 4, he ends up frozen in ice for almost 60 years. So later, so years later, Shield and Nick Fury, are on I guess you could call it like a mission. They are driving, I guess you could call it like a submarine or an underwater ship, or whatever you want to call it, and they come across they've been looking for Captain America, and they finally find him, and they find him underwater, frozen in ice, and so they bring him back to Shield, and they are thawing him out. Bruce Banner, who is working with Shield now, he has been using the super soldier serum to as a way of trying to control the Hulk, and it seemed, and for a little while it works. He has control. The serum is giving him some degree of control over the Hulk, and so Cap, Cap wakes up, obviously has no clue like where he is or what's going on, or anything like that. And he, so he starts, he has no clue, like what's going on, who anybody is, blah, anything like that. So he starts attacking, Shield, and he starts attacking Shield, and then Captain America, and Nick Fury, comes up to him in like this invisible suit, and he's like, "Easy, soldier. This is not what you think." And so he, so he ends up running for the door. He ends up running for the door, and Nick Fury tells everybody to stand down and let him get outside. And so he jumps out. So he crashes through a window and jumps off. And when he gets outside, like, his mind is just completely blown, because remember, he's been, frozen in ice for almost 60 years. So he doesn't, so everything, he doesn't remember anything before, he doesn't remember anything before the war, because remember, he, the last thing he remembers, was jumping off that rocket. And, so he has no idea, if they won the war, if, what happened to, any of his friends, he doesn't, it's like, he's been asleep for 60 years, so he has no clue just how much, things have changed. And so he gets outside, and his mind is just completely blown as he looks, at his surroundings, and and all the people and the change, and everything else. Um so Nick Fury meets him outside, and he goes, and he says to Cap, he goes, "A lot has changed, son." And Cap goes, "Did we win?" "We did." And so Cap is like about to collapse, and Nick Fury sits him down, and he and then later on we get, he is walking the streets, and he goes to see Bucky Barnes, an old friend of his, and he um, and so he's catching up with him. He's having coffee, and and they're talking, and he learns that the woman that Cap was with, um, during the war, has um, is not only much older now, but she has also moved on with Cap's best friend Bucky. So because again, he's been frozen, so he's been asleep, so he has no idea what remains of like any of his friends, or the woman he once loved, or anything like that. Um so he and then Cap asks Bucky, "What do you hear from the guys?" And because he obviously has no idea that all of his friends are dead, and Bucky sort of like hangs his head, and he takes him to the cemetery where all of his buddies are buried, and Cap starts, and you know and he and he and he's mourning the loss of his friends. And then Fury shows up in the cemetery, and Cap goes, "Everyone that I've ever cared for, they're all gone. You should have left me in the ice, General." And 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 Fury goes, "You haven't lost everything, son. You still have your country, and we need you now more than ever." So the so he so this movie is very, um a lot of the movie is about, um Cap struggling with, um a lot of this movie is, Captain America struggling to, um to not only, get back into the fight, but also um get back into it, but also him struggling, like, to get, um him trying to cope with, the death of his friends, um the fact that he's woken up in a completely new world now, that he has, um that he has no, knowledge of. He doesn't know, um anything about, like, what's going on now, um so it's basically him trying to adjust to, a new life in a new time period. And um so Nick Fury gets, a distress call from people in need. Nick Fury slash, Shield, that they get a distress call from some people in need, and then they get killed by the Shatari. Um, so Fury superiors contact him, and they say jump, and they're telling him to jumpstart Project Avenger. Um, and um, so his superiors are basically telling him, look, we're out of time. We're out of time. The world's at stake. We need to, we need to do this. And um, so Captain America, so Fury, so together Fury and Captain America go around and this is not only the first time. This is not only the origin of. This is not only kind of the origin of uh, Captain America because they do show flashbacks to his origin, but it's also the first. Excuse me. It's also the first. It's also the origin of the Avengers, and so Captain America is meeting them for the first time. He's meeting them for the first time, and um, they they're all struggling to work like as a team because not all of them they don't automatically get along right off the bat, um, and um, they don't automatically get along right off the bat. Um, like when they get sent on their first mission, like they're Captain America is like issuing orders, and they're all disobeying his orders, and um, they're all like disobeying their orders, and they're kind of like doing their own thing, not really listening to Cap. So um, um, so at that point, and Captain America tried to tell, Fury, he's like, look, I'm not ready for this. Um, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to be a leader. And, but the biggest threat in this movie is actually the Hulk, um, who they actually end up fighting. Um, who they actually end up fighting towards the end of the movie because Bruce Banner, again, who I mentioned earlier, was using the super soldier serum as kind of like a way to control the Hulk. At beginning of the fight with the Chitauri, he starts off having control of the Hulk, but later on, in the battle with the Chitauri, he burns right through it, and then he loses control of the Hulk. So the Avengers, Thor, Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, Iron Man, Giant Man, they're all later on they all end up fighting the Hulk, and that is. They all end up fighting the Hulk, and so the Hulk, there was sort of like a betrayal within their own ranks, and in the Hulk, obviously being, obviously being, the strongest one and the most unstable on the team, is is uh, is very much the main threat in is very much, or I should say, ends up becoming like the main threat towards the end of this movie. um but no, but later on they are able to pull it together. They do eventually work as one, and they do all like very much work as one, and they start not only working together, but they start like getting along a lot more, and um getting along a lot more. They're more accepting of like taking orders from Captain America, and working together, um and stuff like that. And this is um this is probably one of the truest things to the source material that Marvel's ever done. Like I said, this was the first animated feature from Marvel. Um, this was back when Marvel was doing those animated movies with Lionsgate. And it is, but yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a fantastic movie. Marc Worden reprises his role as Iron Man from the Invincible Iron Man movie, which I will be doing a review on at some point. I know I dropped a picture of it. Um, I've kind of been, trying to figure out like how to do it. I keep doing it, and I'm not happy with the results. I haven't been happy with the results, so I will definitely be doing a review on that movie at some point. But yeah, no, but this movie is really well done. I mean, the animation is great. Everybody looks, um, the animation style is very, very much in the style of the Ultimates. Um, this movie is PG-13. Um, the Ultimates comic is much, much, much more adult. It has a parental advisory on it. Um, so obviously there are gonna like a lot of things in this movie. Um, you know, because of the PG-13 rating, there are a lot of things from the comic book. There are a lot of those, like adult themes from the comic book you aren't going to see in this movie. Um, but however, it still stays really, really true to the source material. It's really, really well done. Um, at the end of the movie, everybody is pretty much under the impression that everything is over. Like like the world is safe. We won. Um, everything is fine now. However, that's obviously not the case because they later learn that that's obviously not the case because they did do a sequel, Ultimate Avengers 2, which I will be reviewing at some point. Um, but yeah, but let me know. Let me know if you guys have seen this, if you watched it, what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.